So, how's it feel to be a case study?
That's awesome. I've never been a case study before.
Well, now your wife told me that you've been a case study for quite some time. I'm just
Okay, I believe that.
going out there. Hey, is this microphone okay? I've got different microphones. My microphone okay?
Yeah, the sounds real good.
All right, cool. So I'm talking to Richard Smith, and so how long you've been a loan officer? Like all told, like when did you start? How long ago was that?
So I started about 20-ish years ago.
Okay.
So,
And then you were a sole like a you were the producer.
yep,
How long did you do that for before you became a branch manager? Like how long did you do that before you became a branch manager of at least one other loan officer that was closing more than just one loan every 6 months? Like when did you
right.
become a branch?
I would say, gosh, 10 years. I produced on my own, then became a branch manager.
Which which did you prefer? Like which did and maybe you preferred one at one point in the book. Yeah, sometimes I look at this as chapters. We go through these different chapters.
Right.
No, which did you prefer one over the other?
It's an interesting question because looking back over 20 years of doing both, um, the where I'm at now, I prefer being a loan officer.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always thought, there's really two ways, to make a bunch of money in the mortgage business. One is to be a loan officer and one is to be a branch manager.
Right.
Right. Um, and I've never thought there's really one right or wrong way or one good and another a better way. I think we're naturally kind of attracted to, one versus the other. I tell you what I think part of it is, and I know I fell prey to this myth. I thought, well, gee, I'll be a branch manager, and then all the loan officers will write a bunch of loans, and I won't ever have to do anything, and it'll be like free money.
Right.
And it's it's definitely not free money, is it?
No. There's definitely challenges with both options. Yeah.
Well, what that's why they call it work, and I guess that's why it pays so well. Both
Sure.
of them, both of
Yeah,
them
yeah. You can make good money either way. Yeah.
hard. It's hard making a lot of money. I was um my future son-in-law come September. They're Alexis and Justin's getting married, and he's a neurology resident. And being a dad, I'm just curious, right? So I Googled how much does a neurologist get paid in North Carolina,
Right.
and what was the number? I think it was like three, like in the low threes or the high twos. I think it was like 290 or something like that, maybe the low threes. And don't get me wrong, that's good money, but it's not uncommon at all for a loan officer that's following, the daily success plan.
Right.
I think we did a study, and now this is off the top of my head, right? So my number might be off a little bit, but not by much. We did a case study of some Freedom Club members, and we found the average of the group. I think it was like 460,000 or 480 or four. I don't remember the exact number.
Yeah, I
I'm
believe it.
It was, yeah. So here you have this average. Now these cats are doing the data success plan, but they're making, on average it was a north side of 400,000, and it's amazing, that as a high school graduate, maybe, right? That's all
Right.
this. You don't even have to. I don't even think you have to have that. Is that required now? Do you have to have a high school diploma these days?
Oh man, I'm not sure, but I know you definitely don't need a college diploma to be a loan officer.
Oh, for sure. And making, I have to tell you, so I hang out with other groups of people, like in other businesses, other than like NFL football players. I don't know of a higher paying career that like no group of my friends make more money than my loan officer friends.
Yeah, it's
It's,
amazing.
so you took so then you went to be a branch manager,
Yep.
and we were just talking in the green room, and you said, "Hey, I'm doing a case study of myself." So tell me about that.
So I kind of left production. I don't, I was trying to think earlier how long it's been since I've actually produced myself loans and, relationships with realtors and things like that. And I think it's been like 6, 7 years that I've been out of it. My son kind of took over the business and he started building relationships, and then my relationships kind of went away. Over time that just happened. So the case study is kind of like I've started back into producing, and I'm literally like a brand new loan officer again.
So how long you been doing it for now?
How long have I jumped back in?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh gosh, it's been 5 or 6 weeks.
So just
Yeah, very
and you've been
recent.
contacting any of your past real estate agents because your son kind of took over that part of the business,
Yep.
right?
I'm
His
just
sons, so your son took over that part. So you're doing 100% reach outs to new relationships, new referral relationships to you.
Yeah, I'm basically doing the daily success plan. And so Mondays, Thor's hammer, I'm
Call
doing,
estate agents,
pardon me?
which is calling the real estate agents.
Correct. Calling real estate agents. I do have a virtual assistant who schedules my appointments with, schedules cold call appointments with brand new real estate agents. And she schedules about 7 to 10 a week for me.
All right. And when you say brand new, you don't mean they're not brand new agents, but brand new to you.
Brand new to me. Oh, definitely. Yeah. Qualified agents that are brand new to me. So these are agents that have closed 8 or more buy sides in the last 12 months.
And my guess is you probably got a pretty good list of qualified agents. I'm just going out on a limb here, guessing
Yep.
you have a good list.
Yeah, I have a great list.
For anybody that might be new to our podcast, Richard owns a company called qualifiedagent.list.com, qualifiedagent.list.com, where you write him a small check, and a few days later, you get a list of agents that are closing 8 buyer sides or more in the last 12 months in your area or whatever area you choose, which it can
Yep.
be, well, you could be, say, I want half of them in, I don't know, whatever, Houston, and I want the other half in Greensboro, North Carolina, like whatever. You can kind of split it up.
Right.
So, so if you want to go check that out, qualifiedagent.list.com. All right. So for you, you live in Houston. Are you calling Houston agents? Or are you going outside of your area? Like where are you calling?
So right now I'm doing or she's calling on Houston area agents.
Okay.
One thing I am going to do, have her start calling, are the outside areas that are further out of Houston area, to kind of look at the niches that I can help agents in smaller towns. So I'm doing that. But right now it's just Houston area agents.
All right. And Houston's very large,
Yes.
obviously. So there's a plethora of that's my new word, by the way, plethora. I grab a new word today, and that's my word of the day,
That's
plethora.
awesome.
So there's a plethora of agents. Um, I'm hoping that plethora, it means exactly what I said it means, and not something like I like your elbow or something weird
Nope,
like
you got it spot on.
picture. So you're calling on these, or she's calling on these plethora of agents, and she's setting you up with 5 to 7. Is that what you said? 5 to 7 appointments per week?
7 to 10.
Seven to 10.
Honestly about average 7 to 8. Yeah.
Right. So like 1 to 2 a day, you
Yep.
know, give or take.
Yep.
And now, where is this person that's doing the calls for you and setting the appointments? Where is he or
So
she at?
she's a virtual assistant in the Philippines.
Okay, so
But
and I know
you
other. So, dude, you got a lot of good stuff going on because I know you have that what is it, remote agent scout
Remote
dot
assistant scout.
remote
Yes.
assistant scout.com, remote
Yep.
assistant scout.com, where you help people hire virtual assistants that can help them with whatever. Maybe it's
Yes.
phone calls for you or anything that's not, let's call it, like, they're not working on the loans like credit pulls or social security numbers or
Right.
applications, but they can help you with your database and phone calls and
Yes.
we have to do another episode. I know we did that years ago. We have to do another episode on all the things my VA can do for me.
Oh yeah, that'd be great because it's amazing how much they can do. Yeah.
Yeah. And what do you what so she sets up, let's call it 8 appointments per week. And what does that cost you? How much do you pay her to do that?
She makes $5 an hour.
So if we
And
if we
she,
go
yeah,
ahead.
to schedule that many for me, she works 2 hours a day, Monday through Friday.
All right, so give or take, it's costing you, let's call it $7 or $8 per appointment. So I pay you $7 and you schedule me one appointment with a qualified agent.
Yeah.
That, that's pretty good math.
Oh
That's
yeah.
I'd
I
pay
never broke it down like that.
double or triple or quadruple that. Like hey, you put a qualified agent in front of me that's expecting my phone call, eager to meet with me, and I pay $50 to make that happen. I do that every day of the week because I know when I get an agent starting referring to, if even if they just refer me one deal a month, that's like 36 grand a year. So that's a huge return on the money. All
Right.
right, so this person's calling on local Houston agents that likely don't know who you are, setting 7 or 8 appointments per week. And let's work with a round number, just easier. 8.
Okay.
How many show up?
It's been amazing the numbers that I've seen. It's literally 75% show up.
Time.
Yeah, I've been amazed because my expectation is about 50% because I hear that a lot from a lot of people.
I'm going to guess 50, 60. Yeah.
But yeah, the numbers higher. I
Is she, how do you, does, like when she schedules it, are they going in some sort of a system where they get reminded? Does she call in the morning before, say, hey, just to remind you or anything like that?
She does. I do use Calendly, so that automatically goes into their calendar, and then they get reminders. So they get an email reminder, they get a text message
But not from
reminder
you, from the system, from
from the
Calendly.
system. Yes. Yeah.
Very
She doesn't do a phone call reminder. I haven't had her do that because the show up rate's been so high.
at 75%. I mean, what do you, maybe you tweak it, make it 80, maybe, you
Yeah.
know, yeah, I agree with that. Now on these meetings, are you meeting them? There's three primary ways, I guess. That one's in
Right.
person, one's a Zoom meeting, and one's, just a phone call meeting. Which way are most of these being made?
So mine, the majority, almost all of them are phone call meetings. So
Straight.
she does attempt to schedule a coffee and or a Zoom. But if they give any kind of pushback or they seem like they're busy or she kind of senses how they feel, she turns it into a phone call meeting.
Well, if you won't do this, how about just a quick call then?
Yep. And I get so many more done that way too.
Interesting. That's like the old pitch, which was a true story, where um, these Boy Scout leaders were going door to door asking for, they would ask you to, was it the leader or the kids? I'm going to screw the story up, but here's the basics of the story, which was a great lesson. It's called the downsell, and the pitch. Robert Cialdini talks about it in his book, and the pitch was, hey, Richard, we're looking for some volunteers to volunteer for a week at the Boy Scout camp. We need some adults to be chaperones, and we're looking for people that can volunteer for a week. Would you be available to volunteer for a week? And of course, most people by far said, no, I wouldn't have time for that. Oh, okay.
Right.
Well, could you buy some of these cookies to help fund that week instead? Then would that be okay? And they said the uptake was like almost 100%. Like, get me off this thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't want this big hard sell of being with his kids for a whole week, which I don't know and it would be hard. Instead, just buy $10 worth of cookies. Sure, I'll do that.
I
It's
love that.
kind of the same thing. Hey, well, if you can't meet in person, well, how about just a quick phone call then? So I like that, man. I like that. How long are so you get on the phone with them? How long does that call?
It's usually about 15 minutes, but some of them turn into 30 minutes. It's amazing. There's a few, a small percentage that they're like, I don't even know what this is about, or
Yep.
I didn't realize I set up an appointment. There's a few like that, but I just turn it into a phone appointment. I just go straight into the scripts that we use.
So what's the bottom? What's her primary pitch to set the appointment? Just, you don't have to quote it to me, but just what's the basic outline
So
of it?
she kind of uses, Richard's heard a lot about you. Your business is amazing. He wants to hear more about what you do and how you're such a successful realtor. She kind of uses the pitch that and honestly, that's what I want to find out. I'm, you know, I'm like you. I look at marketing and look at sales and how can I get better? What have other people done that works, and listening to these agents on how they're closing, one, two transactions a month. That's a crazy number when you're talking about an agent looking at the world as potential buyers and sellers. So it's really finding out about them.
Yeah. And how do you pivot to so that's the call, 15, 20 minutes, asking questions about them, basically, is what I'm hearing you say. Do you how does that call in? Like, is there a call to action or like, hey, let's meet again or send me your deal? Like what does that end of that call sound like?
So usually it goes where my call to action is, do you mind if I call you from time to time?
Okay.
What has surprised me lately is how many agents kind of pivot during the conversation. I mean, it's not surprising. They start to ask about me. So
Yeah.
it gives me a chance to talk a little bit about the real-time referral program and what we're known for. Um, but yeah, the call to action is, do you mind if I call you from time to time? And then after that, it's a follow-up. I send them a couple emails as a follow-up, and then uh, the next week I call them again.
Yeah. And start asking. So on the first call, it's, hey, is it okay if I call you from time to time to see if I can help you have somebody I can help you with? And
Yep.
then just following up on them on a weekly basis. All right. So you've been doing this for 5 or 6 weeks now. So you've probably had, I don't know, 20 or so appointments, my guess is, or something like that. Is that about right?
Think so. Yeah.
And and then I don't know, 15 of them or so showed up, give or take. Um, you getting any referrals?
Yep. I'm getting referrals from, gosh, 6 agents.
Okay, wow. So a high
Six
percentage,
agents.
like
One team. I'm getting like they're
40%,
in.
like
Pardon me.
40. So it sounds like about maybe 40%. And and again, you and I were just sitting here catching up. And I said, dude, stop. Let's hit the record button and do a
Right.
podcast. So I know you don't have your spreadsheet in front of you. But so it sounds like somewhere between 30 and 40% of these agents that you're having these phone calls with are starting to send you business.
Yeah, and I'm knocking on wood because I know, you know, the average is about 16%. So I keep knocking on wood
That's
because
the
I don't
average.
want to go through a slump.
The way average for me, and you know I'm not near as smooth or certainly not near as likable as you are.
No, that's
So so that's impressive. That's impressive. So so Richard, we hear these stories over and over and over again, which is why you said, hey, you know what? I think I'm going to do personal production. You missed it a little bit. and it, boy, it pays really well, like really well.
Right.
We all know that when we hear these stories over and over again, that reaching out to referral partners just flat out works. What holds most loan officers back?
Hmm. Call reluctance, probably.
Is it that
Because,
first call, or do you think it's that meeting?
brother,
Like,
I'll be honest with you. I still have call reluctance. And the first call, the meeting, yeah, it's especially jumping back in after a while, that little guy creeps up. And so, yeah, I've had to push through that big time.
yeah.
Yeah, I think call reluctance is the thing. Now,
Do you find?
once you, Mhm.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, once you make that call and start going, it obviously gets a lot easier, but that first call, man, it can get you.
You know what it's like, brother? It just reminds me of I haven't had to do this in quite some time, but early in my life, I pushed more than one car off the road because it either ran out of gas or broke down or something. And you know, when you first start pushing a car, man, it is freaking hard to get that thing to start to move. But once it's moving,
Right.
it seems like it takes 10% of the energy to keep it moving. It's just 90% to get that first 3 feet, just to get the tires moving at all. And once it's going, like it's a whole lot easier.
Yeah.
Sounds like it's kind of the same thing, like that first. So do you find that, do you think, so you've got somebody making that initial call for you, and then you get an appointment. Do you find it makes it easier to have that, let's call it the second call? So first with you, but the second from your organization, right?
Right.
It seems like it'd be easier. That second call is easier because it's on your calendar. It's an appointment. They're expecting you to be there. You're expecting them to be there, and you can't like procrastinate. So I'll do it later because it's an appointment. They're going to be on the call. Like they're expecting a call at this time. So it seems like that might help a little bit. Having that first call kind of set up for you, by somebody else. Am I saying that right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it does. It does, but it's still tough. I don't know where like if there's a scale of people with call reluctance, like how bad their call reluctance is, or I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, it's still tough.
You know what I think it is, man? I think we're all a nine. You
Okay.
scale of 1 to 10. I think all of us are a solid nine and maybe a 10. No, you know what? I'll say here, I think the people that are successful, it's a solid nine, but their desire for the end result is like an 11.
Right.
And it's, you just have to want, I got a little piece of paper up I keep up on my wall, and it says, you have to want this more than you don't want that.
True.
You can insert in whatever this and that is for you,
Like
but you
choose your
gotta
hard.
want more than the call reluctance holds you back. And because there's always that, it's a tug of war, like for all of us.
Right.
It's those people that have the burning desire. Um, those are the ones that seem like they do real well with it. So, well, good for you, man. It sounds exciting. Yeah, you mentioned that, and I thought, well, let's get that on the recording. So you're getting referrals coming in now,
Yep.
and so you've got some pre-approved looking out there. They're pre-approved and they're out looking right now.
Yep.
We'll have to do a follow-up here, like in, I don't know, another 6, 7 weeks, something like that, and get an update and see how it's going.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Because gosh, I have quite a few pre-approved and looking and should have some contracts from this weekend. And these are all from, yeah, those initial.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what would you? So we say quite a few. Is that like three or four? Like what? Do you?
Pre-approved and looking, I think we have like nine
Oh,
just
and
over the last. Yeah.
oh.
Yep.
And, one thing. This thing is not linear. It's exponential. that as you get more and more and more, because on your pre-approved, you're calling them on Thursday
Yep.
and ask them how the house hunting's going. Do you have any friends, family, or coworkers? They refer you people, and then you have a listing agent, and then you close a deal with a listing agent, and then you have a chance to pitch the listing agent. So all of this stuff just kind of snowballs in each other. So
Exactly.
it's not a linear growth. Good for you, man. How exciting.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. It is, you know, building new relationships and helping these agents. I just don't think they're getting the help out there from loan officers that it's kind of we talked about earlier. I've been hanging around loan officers in the Freedom Club for so many years, and it makes me feel like everybody out there, every loan officer out there is doing the things that we're doing, and I just don't think they are. It's
That's
like
because
there's a
their fear is bigger than their desire.
right, but the
Yeah.
need for a good loan officer who follows up and you know does like the daily success plan with the Tuesday calls during the process, the like you said, the pre-approved and looking on Thursday. It's just amazing how the agents are responding to all of that.
Hey, let me ask something. So, kind of wrapping this up here, what are you glad that you know now that you didn't the first time you were doing self-production?
Really just the consistency with the daily success plan. You
Yeah,
know, doing the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday calls.
yeah. There's no secret to this, is it? It's just a burning desire. Desire does a bigger desire than you have to have a bigger desire than what your fear is, and
True.
that's what
Yeah.
that's what separates the winners from the people that are struggling is just not enough of a desire. So
Picking up that phone. Yeah.
how do you get desire?
Man, that's a good question because that's so internal, I think.
Yeah.
Like I've thought about that myself. Like there's times where I looked at that calendar and I thought, man, that agent probably doesn't even remember I'm calling. So I'm just going to skip that call, you know, and that thought goes through your mind. And then you have that desire, like, what are you talking about? Number one, it's a commitment, but you've got to have that desire of what's the end. Like you have to see the end result, I think, Carl, in addition to wanting that. Does that make sense?
You know what? I've always thought, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this or not, but it's the truth. If it was just me, brother, you give me a double wide up in the mountains somewhere with a little lake or something, man, I'm good. I don't need much. Like I really don't. I don't need much. And maybe a motorcycle and a Jeep, right? Give me a motorcycle, a Jeep, and a double wide on a lake somewhere in the mountains, which
Right.
none of them cost that much, right? And I'm like way good. For me, it's just been I don't know if this is good or bad, but it just is. It's setting up that generational wealth, for the family that
Yeah.
if and when something happens to me, like we don't live forever, nobody, right? Ever, right? That the lovely Mrs. White is in good shape. I give my kids just a tremendous head start in life, and they've worked hard, right? They're in the education system, doctors and engineers.
Right.
They worked real hard, so it's not that they needed my help, because they'd have pushed through it one way or the other. It's just not starting off with a huge student loan debt or something like that. And I get it. We do what we got to do, and hey, it's all good. But if I could, I just really had this. But I had a really hard time going to school, like because my family, I had a great family, mom and dad, great people, never a shortage of love. But boy, money was short, and
Right.
sleeping out on the tennis courts when in college because I couldn't afford a dorm and all those things. And I'm convinced that this day that didn't benefit me at all. It really didn't. And
Hmm.
it just make it a little easier for my kids, where they could enjoy the process a little bit more than I did. It's like I can walk 20 miles barefoot, but I'd rather have a pair of shoes. You know,
Right, right.
Can't walk barefoot. I just don't think it builds character walking barefoot. So anyway, so for me, it's that desire has always been, helping other people and helping friends out when they need help and helping other communities out, with different things. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
I think that desire is like you have to desire it more for other people than you desire it for yourself.
True. That's very true. Yes.
We talk about this a lot. I'll let me down every day of the week, but I'm not going to let you down, right? So anyway, good stuff, man. Anything anything different like going forward, or is it just like this is the plan and
Yeah, it's just the plan, just
just
following up and
work the plan that's already working?
it works. Yeah.
Hey, just as a shameless plug, so it sounds like there's two things that you have that is a must have. Well, three things. Number one, you got desire, right? Number two, you have a qualified list.
Yep.
And number three, once you have a qualified list, you have somebody making those initial phone calls for you because those
Yes.
can be tough, right? Those can be tough.
Those are the toughest.
So if somebody wants a qualified list of agents that are the big producers in today's market, not 5 years ago, biggest mistake I see people make. Number one, they don't pick up the phone. Number two, they're calling on the wrong people, right?
Yep. And that's easy to do right now. Yeah.
Yeah, if you go drop into open house, odds are that agent doesn't have a lot of business going on. So you have to
Right.
find agents that are doing good business. So to get a qualified a list of agents, Richard, where should they go?
So qualifiedagent.list.com.
Perfect.
Qualifiedagent.list.com.
So I get my qualified agent list, and then I want somebody to start making my call, helping me with my calls. You help people find assistance
Yep.
to uh, uh,
That's at remoteassistantscout.com. And we actually help find, vet out and find assistants to make calls and do other things like we talked about. But usually the starting rate is about $5 an hour. Um, the funny thing is, Carl, my virtual assistants, if you talk to them, you think they're sitting in my office. You would never know they're halfway across the world because they are Filipino assistants. But if they have in I don't mean this in a bad way, but if they have an accent, we don't hire them. We're hiring the ones that sound like you and I.
yeah,
And there's plenty of them.
or maybe better than I can't speak for you, but
Actually, better. Yeah.
better than a lot of people don't know it, but in the Philippines, English is when they go to school, grade school, English is what there is a
Yes,
language that's taught as a first language in the education system there.
exactly. Yeah.
An episode on that, so we'll do that next.
Okay. Sounds good.
So give me those two sites again.
So qualifiedagent.list.com and remoteassistantscout.com.
Good stuff, brother. All right, man. We'll do a follow up. Let's mark it on the calendar. Let's do a follow up in a couple months and see how this thing is shaking out. And hey, thanks for volunteering to be a case study, man.
Oh,
So good.
you bet. Thanks for having me.
All right, Richard. I'll see you, my brother.
All right. Thanks.